Hi, I'm Jackal, and welcome to my library. Today, I wanted to tell you a story. It's one of my absolute favorite stories. It's a story about forgiveness, and most importantly, it's a true story. It's the story of a man named Saul of Tarsus. Now, this story takes place around 2,000 years ago in Israel. Saul was a religious man, and according to his colleagues, he was a good person. He was training, basically, to be a part of the Sanhedrin, who were the religious elite at the time. He knew the law, and he obeyed it as best as he could, as we all do. He knew his lineage and was proud of it, as we all should be. For a man of his day, he did everything that was expected of him. One day, word began to spread about a man from Nazareth. A man that was supposed to be dead. A man that, according to reports, had risen to life again. This man was killed by the Sanhedrin. Well, rather, by Rome, at the order of the Sanhedrin. The followers of this man were out spreading the word and news of this, claiming this man to be the Son of God. This, as Saul believed, was blasphemy. So he went and sought out these men and women claiming that God had come to earth as a man from Nazareth. Ridiculous. And he put these people in jail, and sometimes worse. He sought out the followers, hunted them with murderous threats, and caused devastation among them. He went to seek them out one day in the city of Damascus, on the road to which his whole life changed. On his journey there, Saul saw a bright light and was blinded by it. In it, he heard a voice. The voice of that same man. That man from Nazareth. The man that was supposed to be dead, and yet, as his followers that he hunted had said, rose to life again and had ascended to heaven. This man appeared to him in this bright light and spoke. And he asked Saul, "Why do you persecute me?" He then tells him to get up and go into the city, and he will be told what he must do. So, doing everything that was always expected of him, he did. And for 3 days he waited, blind, not eating or drinking. In a vision, one of these followers, a man named Ananias, was called. He was told to go find this man, Saul from Tarsus. Ananias was scared. He had heard the rumors of Saul. He had heard of all his brothers and sisters being jailed. And he was scared because he didn't want to die. But nevertheless, he obeyed. Ananias went and found Saul, and as he was told to do, laid hands on him. Instantly, scales fell from Saul's eyes, and he could see again. Imagine being blind for 3 straight days, not eating or drinking, and then finally being able to see again. Now, this isn't the end of the story, but before I tell you what happened next, though some of you may already know, let me tell you another story really quick. This one isn't a true story, but it was told just a few years before the story of Saul. It goes like this. A young man one day goes to his father, a wealthy man, and tells him, "Father, I don't want to be a part of this family anymore. Give me my inheritance, and you'll never have to see me again." Now, the father wasn't exactly happy about this, but he did as the son wanted and gave him his inheritance. Now, in those days, if you were to ask for your inheritance while your father is still alive, that's essentially saying that to him, to you, your father might as well be dead. You want nothing to do with them anymore. And that's what the son did. And he went off. And he spent that money. He lived a carnal life full of all this world's pleasures. He did things that I wouldn't say in front of children. But he enjoyed himself. He had a great time. He drank and smoked and had, let's just say, many girlfriends. But was he happy? When that money was finally gone, because he had burned through it all, and he was sitting on the side of the road begging for scraps or for a coin to buy some food, and he realized, you know, the servants in my father's house back home, even they ate better than this. Even the pigs in his stalls were cleaner than this. I'm going to go home and beg my father to let me be a servant in his house, so that at least I'll have a roof over my head and some warm food in my belly. And that's what he did. He went home. And his father saw him as he was coming over the horizon. Now, for those of you who don't know, because of the curvature of the earth, the horizon is 3 miles away. That's if you're on flat ground, of course. But again, this is just a story. So let's just assume that the father saw him on the horizon and could see that it was him. He ran. Not away. He ran towards him. He saw his son coming, and as soon as he could see that it was him, he ran to him. He ran to his son that he loved so much that didn't care at all for him. And he threw his mantle, his cloak, over his son. And the son begged forgiveness. He begged to just be a servant in his father's house. But the father was so overwhelmed with joy that his son had come home. He refused. He told his servants, "Go and get the fatted calf and slaughter it." Now the fatted calf was, as it sounds, it was a calf. It was a young cattle that was kept plumped up for a special occasion, usually for one of the many feasts that they had in that culture at the time. And they slaughtered the fatted calf and had a feast together. And the son was welcomed home. Now, I'm not going to bother with the rest of that story of the elder brother or anything like that, because that's not the point I'm trying to make here. You're probably asking, why did I tell you this story before finishing the first? It's simple. They both end the same way. Same way our stories, I hope, will end. After Saul could see again, he went and changed his name. He was born again and thus had a new name, Paul. And Paul is known even today for what he's done. Not for persecuting his newfound brothers and sisters, but for making more, spreading the good word, starting churches all over the known world of the time, in Rome, in Corinth, in Ephesus. And Paul wrote letters to these churches and to the other followers. And today, 2,000 years later, we read those letters. Paul's letters make up 28% of the New Testament of the Bible. Now, what's the moral here? Why am I telling this story? Because I've heard so many people say to me, "Oh, if I stepped into a church, I'd burst into flames." Or, more seriously, "I wouldn't fit in at church." So many people I know see themselves as being too dirty, too crude, and that church is a place where you prop yourself up and make everyone know how good a person you are. But I'm here to say it's not true. We are the prodigal son. And God is waiting to see us on the horizon, longing for us to come back to him. And as soon as he sees us, he will run to us. Even Saul, who imprisoned and likely sentenced hundreds, if not thousands, of Christians to death. He wasn't beyond forgiveness. You, with all your stains and all your sin, nothing you can do will leave you beyond forgiveness. That's all I've wanted to say. Thanks for listening. And I hope to see you back in my library sometime soon. Goodbye.